Welcome back to another episode of In the Face of. Today we are going to be in the face of life. I'm Alex Wallace, your host, and with me...
Gio in charge.
Okay, cool. So, point of today, we thought, you know what, the best conversations that we ever have are just the ones that, sort of spur a little bit from nothing. Where we sort of end up talking about it. And the more we talk, the more we engage, and we're quite ADHD in a sense, so we just sort of like spin around and we end up some pretty cool topics. So today we're not going to have maybe one specific thing to talk about. We're just going to talk about life and what it means and
Exactly.
all the ups and downs.
Exactly. It's one of those episodes you don't have to focus on too much, but maybe a few nuggets here and there that we'll be talking about.
So, yeah, I'll tell you what, for life, well, you know what, it's the benchmark from today, because today is officially the day that I finish university.
Yeah.
I've handed in all of my stuff, and the 3 years of work is officially over.
How do you feel?
Tired, mate. Tired and glad it's over. It's got to a stage where you spend so long doing something and regimented in a certain way, and you end up being almost sick of it. Not sick of it, but you get to this stage when you just go, I've been doing this for 3 years, and I've been waiting for it, and now it's actually come. It's here.
Yeah.
I kind of feel a little bit just relieved it's done, and just sort of at that stage out where I can finally go, yeah, I can start my life.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all good stuff. It's been stressful up until now, but it's been a roller coaster of 3 years. I would say it's not been the best, but we make do and mend, I guess.
Well, that's it, man. Yeah, that's it. I mean, 3 years. I've only met you. Well, probably nearly a year and a half. Probably coming up 2 years ago.
Oh, how the time flies, man.
How the time flies. And in that time, I've seen you change from this individual to who you are now, and still progressing to change. So, why don't you share with the guys how that was? The
guys and the gals. But I think it's sort of like, it's not been, for the reason of how decisive these last 3 years have been, of like, it's not been the best, but it has.
Right.
In my perspective, this has been the best 3 years of my life, because this has defined the person that I am going to be for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I've had problems in the past with mental health and with drinking and smoking and everything else, and just overall fitness.
Yeah.
And, I've sort of, then this has pushed me at one point in my life, and it's really, really got me to drive, to want more, be a better person. And if I hadn't have been through all of the things that I've been through, coming down here, I would never have. I don't know if I would have.
Well, your idea,
it would have been completely different.
Right,
so for that reason, this has been the best 3 years of my life.
Yeah,
and I've I'd say the last year at uni, the one I've just done, it's probably been the best out of all of them. I've finally got a nice house, and I started to sort everything out a little bit, and it was that first day in that house was what was the turning point for me. I think I woke up, in a new home, with all my stuff packed, feeling terrible. I'd just been living in a hostel, and it's just been crap. I hated my job, I hated my life, I hated everything to do with it. I woke up on a mattress, on a bed, freezing cold, and just went, I'm not going to live like this anymore. I put my shorts on, I went to the gym, and that day forth, that was the massive turning point. Yeah, and I think all of a sudden it just went like bang.
Slowly been kicking all these bad habits. How beforehand was all these things,
smoking, drinking. It was a coping mechanism for stress.
Yeah,
I see it in a sense. I'm unhappy, and I have been for a long time, and I didn't know exactly what to do with it. So from that, I then went, well, I just sort of spiraled almost, and then I just normalized it. And then it just ended up becoming this habit that dominates my life.
Exactly.
And then just, getting out of that habit and building new ones and building good ones.
Yeah.
And building all these new habits completely changed my life. And because the more you do, the more I did my fitness. I'm like a massively strong believer. I think that, that's from being fit, from being healthy, from going to the gym, has completely changed my mindset, which has completely changed my outlook on life.
Yeah.
And it's completely pushed me to be something new and be me, be the person that I knew I could be. To me. And it was one of them things, if you want something hard enough, you want it, you're going to get it.
You will get it. And it's aligning yourself with the thing that you want, right? So, for example, some people want money. Most people...
We all want money, mate.
But there are people out there who don't care so much for money. They just want good relationships, or they want to be happy with their partner, or whatever it might be. But yeah, what do you think about then? So people connecting with that purpose, and do you think it's important that people try to find themselves in that way? What do you think?
It's your main principle in your life, I guess.
Yeah.
What you stand for, what you mean, and and it shows everything. It's like your mind state and your perception on the world is everything to me, anyways.
Yeah.
And the best thing about going and doing fitness and having that aligning with your perspective on life is it means that like you can show it in a way. Like when I see myself now, I don't recognize myself in the mirror 18 months ago.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing.
No,
That's the best thing in the world.
Yeah.
For me is looking at myself and seeing none of the person that I used to be.
Exactly.
Literally nothing of it. And I get to reflect that. And it's absolutely amazing. And it's from those principles that have pushed me to turn around and go, what do I actually want out of life?
Yeah.
How do I get it? Right. And then just doing it.
Yeah, exactly. And that is the biggest thing out there as well. We all sit there with our thoughts at night and we've come up with some amazing ideas, some crazy ideas, some we don't share. Probably not we don't share, but I know we all do when we go to bed at night and we think to ourselves, oh, I'm going to start this thing, I'm going to do something for this person, or this is going to happen. And then maybe life gets in the way and then you never end up doing it. Or you're trying to do too much too soon, you burn out and then you find it hard to actually stick to the good thing that you want to do. Sorry, talk about good things when you're in bed.
Yeah.
When you think
Everyone's got ideas, but I suppose if you say if you never, it's that call to action, isn't it? That they say in marketing. It's that call to action to make you actually want to do the thing and actually doing it. Because everyone's got great ideas.
Yeah.
But if all they ever stays is ideas in your head, then it hasn't come to anything. It doesn't exist.
just being able to identify which of those ideas are good and formulating a good plan to create a good habit, right? To turn
just doing it.
Exactly. So
Sometimes it's just you doing the thing. Like when I first started the gym, I didn't have a plan, didn't know what I was doing. I just literally just went. I knew it was something that I needed to do.
Yeah.
So I went and did it, and I just failed and failed and failed until I got it right.
Exactly.
Keep doing it, and it's that level of determination and fight, and then
just
eventually
keep going.
And the more you learn, the more you practice, the more you fail, the more you learn. Sometimes sitting down and always planning and always going, oh, I've got to do this, that, and the other. You end up sitting there, and you never get anything done.
Yeah.
Sometimes a bit of spontaneity and a bit of fight and passion is the best thing for you in life.
Yeah, 100%. There's people out there, again, with these sports, they want to try making a good habit. And like going to the gym and you're failing and failing and failing. And it's in a way, you've got to have some self-belief, right? Because if you don't believe in yourself in these things,
you're never going to truly happen. You're also never going to be truly connected to it because you're going to be, if you don't fully know in your mind that you're capable of doing it,
yeah,
you have to have no doubt in your mind that you are capable of doing it. It's got to know it's within your grasp. And if you don't, then you're never going to truly reach 100% of that goal, I don't think, anyways. But it's one of those things, isn't it? It's, when it comes to anything, when it comes to the gym or studying, university, your job, anything like that, it's, if you're not fully invested, you're not fully there, and you don't fully want it, you can never say that you're truly passionate or that you care. I mean, there's obviously levels of how much you care, but you're never going to be truly there, are you? You're just going to sort of always being just plateauing in a way. I mean, that's how I see it anyways from my past experiences and, my old jobs and stuff like that. They never truly made me happy. It never made me the person I wanted.
No, exactly.
And it stopped me from knowing. Sometimes when you're so dedicated and you don't even know why.
I know you're clouded, I think sometimes. There will be shiny objects that will appear in your life that may make you feel quite good. Now, for those of you who don't know what shiny objects are, we might refer to this later on in other podcasts.
Shiny object syndrome.
Yeah, it's just, but what I'm talking to in this term is not so much the main shiny object syndrome of jumping from new thing to new thing. It's more little dopamine triggers, small things that make you feel good, but you know what's super good for you, but you're going to go out and do it. But you're going to go out and do it anyway.
Like overuse of social media or going out sometimes, having a pint going like, oh, I've worked really hard all week and I've been training, so I'm going to treat myself by drinking loads of alcohol and completely ruin everything. That's the sort of shiny object syndrome. All of these little things that you think, I deserve these because of this reason. And it's not always true because it's a way of saying like, I'm justifying it. I'm justifying doing things that don't serve me.
People do that quite a lot, don't they? justify
human thing.
a lot of the bad things.
Everyone does it to an extent,
Right.
I'm limiting it to a certain amount. I mean, we're all human. We all need. Bro, I mean, it's obviously different from person to person, but you know, everyone needs a little bit of something in their life. It doesn't mean you can't completely cut everything out and go.
No,
it's gonna be because that's
you need a balance, right? You need a healthy balance.
Yeah, you need to know. It's like when we say things like social media, when we're saying about how the release of dopamine and stuff like that, and it's not actually like how TikTok is designed to almost get you addicted to stuff.
But it's designed to keep the audience.
Keep the audience, yeah.
They just want them to,
they want to keep you on the wheel.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we're not saying, obviously, if you don't use it at all, it's about being able to decide.
No, of course. What is there is some amazing information on the internet has changed the landscape, so many people's lives, and it's all amazing. It's just,
Yeah.
And it's just, using it for the right thing. And I think, especially now, post-COVID, a lot of people spend so much time on their phones now. Beforehand, there was to an extent, but I feel like in that year or so, or the 2 years,
everyone just sat
on that phone.
It was the only way to stay connected. I mean, I thought people have generalized using phones as a way of connecting.
Yeah.
And we weren't allowed to go outside, and when we had to just sit in the house all the time, you still wanted to be able to talk to friends and all that carry on. So you didn't have another option. But now the problem is people's social barriers are just absolutely that bad that they don't.
It's hard now. People don't interact with each other anymore. So those of you who don't know, me and Alex here, we're incredibly extroverted people. We love to talk to anyone and everyone and just get to know them. We met a lovely chap today named Floyd. He runs a barber shop. And what was he saying? He was interested in counselling.
He's trying to counsel young men and help them while he's in the barber chair, because he figured out that what happened is when he sits the blokes down, they tend to open up.
Yeah.
Open up to barbers and hairdressers naturally, because you're trusting them with a part of your body. You naturally associate that with trust, and you end up opening up. And he said that he's then looked at counselling to try and help and counsel them, because a lot of young men struggle to go and ask for help. So he's trying to initiate that process of going. You can have help. I know it's a bit scary. He has to start you off. Yeah. And then he said from that, he's trying to funnel them into actually getting counsel, getting help. And that is absolutely amazing. It's one of the best things I've heard
in a very long time.
I've genuinely never seen somebody who wanted the help as much as he did. And honestly, it's little things like that.
And this is just a random guy in a bar that we happened to come across because I complimented his, when we were out, because I happened to compliment his shoes. We had conversations and it went on for ages.
And honestly, help little things like that reassert my belief in people, because sometimes it's very difficult. When you get a lot of issues and problems sometimes, and everyone's always so focused on the negative.
Yeah.
That when you come back and you start to see some of those little positive things, it reasserts my belief in people, because it can be quite difficult to staying positive when you're always around negative. And to be fair, it seems like a running trait that negativity is just massively expressed all the time.
It's how I like to look at it. I know we mentioned drains and radiators on a previous episode. There was another way of, when you get a bowl of fruit, right, and you've got like a load of bananas in a bowl, and one of them goes bad, one of them starts to go brown. What happens to all the other bananas? They all start going brown.
You'll naturally start to pick up the aroma.
It's an infection, and not only in your relationships, but also in your business. And it's being able to identify those people and being able to eradicate it, because they're not good
not
friends.
Not necessarily eradicate.
Sorry.
I'd say the best thing that you could try and do is try and help that person and say, hey, if there's a reason for what's happened, why is that, and try and help them. And then if somebody wanting to change at that point, you would then consider maybe going, I don't particularly want to be around you. Eradication is.
Do you think they can change?
People change. I changed. I don't like the idea that when they say people can't change, and so people don't change, people do change. I'm living proof. We all live in proof that people change. And that whole thing where if you don't believe people are capable of changing, they're just not going to do.
Growing.
When you stop growing as a person. And you know what? Because I heard this a little while ago, and it was people truly set their mind state when they stop growing as a person at a certain age.
Yeah.
And I turned around and I was like, well, surely you should never stop growing, learning, developing, and understanding. So at what point do people turn around and say, I'm going to stop at this point? School? Is it when you leave uni, when you leave school? So growing and maturing, because if there's a certain point where you just plateau, can you really say that you're going to be the same person and be happy being that person? Is it true happiness or is it true misery?
Well, exactly. But then, I think some people find it difficult to connect with that feeling of what makes them happy and what makes them sad. And they just end up doing, like, before what we mentioned, the wheel, you're just on this.
The rat race, mate.
Yeah.
The hamster wheel.
The hamster wheel.
Spend your entire life running and you never get anywhere.
Yeah. We're just making mistakes and doing the same thing. You're upset and you're sad. And it's upsetting to see these people. But unfortunately, that's just the way our societies are built. And unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on perspective, there will always be those people around.
Yeah.
Right.
And hopefully, when you do stop growing and maturing as a person, it's for the right reasons because you're totally content and happy with your life.
Your life,
not for the wrong ones.
No, your life changes drastically. And when you see these models and whatever on Instagram, they look super fit, and you might be a bit out of shape. You might not have like come to the gym for a while, or eat the best or whatever. And you think, oh my God, I'd be so happy if I became that person. Right? If I was that person, I would be so much happier. But then if you want that, and that says, say that is the thing you want, connect to it, do it. Just start doing it.
If you want something, do it.
Just do it.
Like, that's the...
Sorry, we're not stealing Nike's catchphrase, by the way.
Yeah, no, just do it. Oh, just don't do it.
Yeah. Just don't do it.
Just don't do it.
Stay at home.
Stay at home. Stay in bed. Yeah. Order your McDonald's.
Exactly.
Yeah. Play on your PlayStation all day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And then when you're unhappy about it, don't do anything about it.
Just why?
Because that, yeah. Because wine drink. Oh, I thought you meant drink it. No, because that solves all your problems.
Yeah, exactly.
A bottle of wine solves every problem in life.
Alcohol.
That is, alcohol. Yeah. Because
I used to do that.
Well, not anymore, mate.
No,
Now, how times have changed. Yeah, for the readers who maybe don't understand, that's all sarcasm, by the way.
Yeah.
On a lighter note, we're doing it about life, and we've kind of sidetracked,
spiraled a bit.
We spiraled a bit.
We're doing this. Don't worry, we do respond.
Yeah, everything corresponds. We'll do that sometimes, but life in general. I mean, where are we at the minute?
So
the business, in terms of
in terms of what we're about over it. So we're developing some super exciting stuff that we're not going to talk about just yet, but it's something that the world is not ready for, but it's something the world needs, right? And it's going to be massive when it does happen. And now I know this is for episode 3 of our podcast, but when we maybe listen back to this in like 3 or 4 years' time,
when we're like, stay tuned for episode 567, and we're like, whoa,
for old man, it's going to be crazy, I think, because we have these goals, and it's great. We hit the milestones, we celebrate the little wins as well.
Got a way of documenting that journey as well.
Exactly.
Can you imagine the day that when we're filming our like podcast number 200 in our office?
Yeah,
and we're sitting in a proper soundproof room, looking back at us, like, using one microphone in your bedroom, Bristol. Like, I can imagine looking back and thinking about it, and all I can think about is looking at that point and looking back.
But even then, like, when you look back, like you were saying before, when you started uni, you don't recognize that person because you're miserable and this and that, whatever. But when we look back at this, we won't be miserable. We're going to be miserably happy.
This will be looking back in the mirror and seeing that same person.
But you've grown and
still grown and developed, but hopefully I still recognize myself.
And I'll just be like, if only I knew what I knew now.
I know, if only somebody just made me this information. But
I
know that's what life's all about, isn't it? It's growing, learning, developing. And
it's like the minute you stop. So it's not quite for word, it's a very long time ago. But it was the minute you stop living is the minute you stop studying something. So something very along those lines of when you stop absorbing knowledge is the time your life is over.
Your life is essentially over.
Because you're supposed to learn. You're supposed to always like to learn.
And it's learning from your mistakes, isn't it? I find all of it like, you never truly learn by getting everything right. I mean, truly failing, right? Every single time it's doing it again and again and again. And it can be disincentivizing. Like when you're at the gym and you can't do something, you're training towards it, right? And when I've been training to do 140 kg deadlift. Twice my life.
You're going to look back on
and I spent 2 months. And every time I couldn't lift the bar, right? It's annoying. You get more and more annoyed. But I still went in there, pulled it. Motivated. It took 2 months, and then eventually you've done it. You'll never get anywhere by succeeding in everything. By failing, you learn. And it can be disincentivizing, but as long as you use it and you keep fighting, using it, to improve yourself, eventually you will get the goal that you want.
Exactly, 100%. Completely agree with you. Now, of course, there's like this belief, isn't there? Society has created this form of belief that, everything's supposed to be perfect. I mean, look at my job. So I used to run a shop very temporarily. I got sacked due to a poor review from a guest that came in.
Oh, were you getting funny with guests?
And the whole reason why that review was so poor was due to bad training, and because I said something I shouldn't have said, but I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
Right. So when I had that interview and I had that meeting for like me leaving the business, I mean, I'm grateful that's happened now because it's led me on this path now, but that's another thing. Falling up. It's just, it's unfair that you people feel like they can't fail and then you just bully yourself for not being good enough in a way. Well, I think so anyway.
Which unfortunately is quite a common trait, I think. I think it's a common trait with most people, and it's probably something that we do naturally as humans. We will naturally want to look at other people and maybe put yourself down and think that you're not good enough. And anxiety, unfortunately, especially in today's trait where most of life is like sensory overload. People 100 years ago did not have nearly as much information, nearly as much resources. And even though it's a gift and a blessing, it's also something that is absolutely, it just puts so much into your mind.
Yeah.
That it can dishearten you and it can do the opposite effect. And instead of using it as a tool, it can be more hindrance.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's all so new, isn't it? Like, thinking, I was talking about it the other day, I think, about the world before our time. Now, we're both very young individuals at the moment. But the world before we were around didn't have the technology that they've got now. And I think to myself sometimes, life is just, it's evolved so much so quickly. When's the crash? I don't know. When's the crash happen?
How do you catch up? Yeah,
because a crash in these times.
So much. There's just so much going on. And just even everything. I mean, say for instance, you're looking at politics, right?
Yeah.
And you just try and study what's going on all over the world, right? And you could spend days. Watching the news, days looking online, right? And you still wouldn't know everything. And it's and some of it, and you know what? It promotes maybe non-realistic idea of what life really is, of saying these are the really important issues. They're all bad.
Yeah.
Always bad. Like you were saying the other day, when you're watching the news, always miserable. And,
yeah.
But then you get these little life-heartening things on the news to try and cheer you up and stuff. And it seems to almost manipulate you into believing that the world is actually this bad. And it's not. The world is not as bad as it's made out to be. But unfortunately, people are almost manipulated and then they get this view of it. And the more they believe in it, the more it comes true.
It's the will of society, mate. That's what I'm thinking. It's the sleep. But as long as you're happy and it's finding yourself and truly connecting with what it is and all of that other stuff around it, so what? What matters most is that you're happy and that you lead the life that you want to live. And when you get onto one day when it comes to the end and you look back on yourself, have no regrets. Just you have to be master.
When I'm on my deathbed at the ripe old age of 116.
Yeah,
that's how long I want to live. I want to live to 160.
Okay.
Modern medicine, mate. I'm going to live forever.
Yeah, you'll be on them anti-aging beds or something.
Oh, yeah. What we need to do is adopt the Mediterranean lifestyle, because they live forever. They live forever. They always eat fresh food, They meditate. They might drink wine and stuff, but they always have very small amounts, and it's proven to therefore extend your life massively because there's nothing cancerous. There's nothing bad you put into your body. Your body's literally a temple, and you only putting fresh, anything new, everything that your body needs and craves.
Fuel in the car, mate.
And then they live until 90, 100 years old. And that's the kind of lifestyle that I think...
Look at my grandma.
Only the good things. You're going to do 90.
No, it's the 90-year-old man.
The most active person.
Resilient, bold, proud person you'll ever meet. You never ask for help.
Loving that. It's nothing.
Fantastic. And I mean, even when we look back on this in the future, whenever it's gone or whatever, I'm so grateful to have it now and everyone around me and everything's good.
Great for life, mate. Honestly, I can't wait because I think we're truly starting our life now.
Yeah.
I feel like as the person, I feel reborn in the sense that now I'm the person
yourself.
I'm the person I want to be, right? And I'm finally at the stage where I've finished my degree and I can start the business. We can start business.
Yeah, we've really started. Yeah,
truly start our lives. And I feel like it's almost like a real benchmark. I feel like we've hit today. I feel like it is exactly what we need.
Exactly.
And you know what? Right now, from this day on, is the start of the rest of our life.
Yeah,
But you know what? That is the most exciting. It's dead exciting, but it's almost I'm scared in a good way.
Almost exactly, because we've got our lights around the corner.
I've got a plan. We've got our plan in place, but I feel, you know what, that plan I can tell.
That plan is going to have so many bumps.
Oh, mate, honestly, yeah, I feel like trying to carry a house up a hill, mate.
I mean, as long as you're connected to the dream,
Mate, we will get there.
Push mountains.
Exactly. I know it's been an exciting ride. We just need to truly get everything going now.
That's it,
including ICFO.
Yeah,
in the face of this is what the start of our lives really, and a great way to document it. And hopefully, as ICFO grows alongside the business, you know, for you all watching,
and maybe you might be watching this in a few years in the future when we are a big organisation. You might be like, oh, we want to listen to these guys when they first started out in season 1 of the.
And they go, these new episodes are great, but those starting ones, yeah, they're rough.
They're a bit rough.
Well, I know one day when we can get a bit more money, we need to get some 2 microphones. We can have one each.
You know, some real crazy,
really pushing the boat out.
Yeah, it's sort of that situation.
Yeah, so some better equipment, and maybe even video and audio, and we could start doing YouTube.
You know, like all the view and stuff.
I know, and we could pay an artist to do maybe some better artwork than I do.
Yeah. No, I think the artwork.
Oh, and I can't wait. I can't wait. It's gonna be an exciting time, and it's a great time to be alive as well, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And the best thing that we could be doing now is just keep going with life. Yeah, I think.
Just don't stop. Don't look back.
Don't do it. And you know what? I'm proud to say that over the last 3 years, as much as it's been a roller coaster of unproportionate crap, but it's finally managed to come out of it. And I'd say that this is like one of the days that I will always remember as being the start of my life. And it's exciting and wonderful and scary and crap and a bit mean and all the other things, but above everything else, it's the best day.
Exactly. And treasure those moments as well. You know?
I know. And this is why we had to do a podcast. We thought we'd do one earlier in the week, but no, we thought we'd leave it until it's the most important. So we could get everything, so everything can be nice and fresh, and it's exciting.
Yep.
What?
On that note, I'm pretty much happy with everything.
On that note, it is Sunday afternoon, and there is tea to be made. Oh yeah, teas to be made. We need teas and coffees to be made, and pajamas to go on. So
pajamas,
pajamas.
Apes and Planets.
Yeah, we've got Planet of the Apes, mate. That's all watching for today. It's a great movie, guys. There's a new one coming out very soon. So
say that now. You say that now.
Say that now.
Could be listening to this at any point in the future.
Well, so we're gonna go watch the trilogy, and then when the film comes out,
we're watching Rise of the Planet of the Apes 46.
Yeah. Well, enjoy, guys. Have fun, and just as usual, you will see us every Monday at ITFO.
You will.
Next week, we will be in the face of obesity.
Obesity
is going to be the next one, I believe. So stay tuned for next Monday.
See you later. Have a wonderful week.